Hi, we're the Thompsons. It's rocket launch day, and it's been a while since we've done this. Weather's just been terrible, hasn't it? So tell them, what do we got today?
So what we have today, we have this small rocket here. It's made from 3D print.
Yeah, that's a one-piece 3D print.
Yep.
And what else we got today? We got a couple others over there.
We have a helicopter rocket that spins its way down, and then we have a finless rocket that's 4 feet long, I think.
Yeah, we'll show you those here in just a second. But let's get shooting. This will be fun, won't it?
I'm in charge of the launch.
We've got our slow-mo camera there. We've got our launch camera there to catch the exhaust. And we've got Alex over here in his command center with the camera on him. He's got the launcher, and we're ready to launch.
Yep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Holy crap! That was amazing. We're never going to find it. All right, now this rocket is something special. It is balanced. So let me take the balance string off here. This one is the HeliRocket that Alex was talking about. This one's powered by a D12.6 we put in here. Hopefully that's enough to get this off the pad. If it isn't, we've got some E's in reserve that should do the job. This one is supposed to launch. When the ejection charge fires, the tail will slide back ½ an inch, which will allow these blades to pop out because of the rubber bands up here on this, and it should rotate back down tail first like a helicopter. So we'll see. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Ejection charge fire. It's a 5-second delay. It fired. It's coming down! Oh my gosh, yes indeed. Do we see that, folks? Can you see that? Can you see it? Look at this, Alex.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
I got this thing. I got it.
It's coming down nose first. We're shooting that again.
Yes.
On a D motor, that was amazing.
So we need a D again.
Yeah, we won't use an E.
No.
But it came down nose first. It was supposed to come down tail first.
But either way, it made it down and it didn't break.
Right.
So let's just say, I don't care which way it comes down. That was just insane, okay?
Oh, that's cool. The wind's making it rotate. Just keep doing that.
Okay, we're launching this thing again.
Yeah, we are launching that again. You want to just do it now? That was awesome. All right, now let me show you how I made these. Of course, these were made in SolidWorks. This comical blue one was meant to look, like some comical projectile you might shoot out of a tube. It was started with just a simple revolve, but what I should have done was included the revolve for the motor mount here in the middle. You see it's just solid down the center, and I had to cut that out later. And so then I just did an extruded cut for the hole for the motor, which was, like I said, kind of silly, and I should have just included it in the initial revolve. Now the problem here was that this can't bridge across, and so you'll see how I fix that here in a minute. These fins, of course, were printed here at an angle such that I didn't require support in this little notch, and then I mirrored it around, or circular patterned it around 6 times, just because, heck, a 6-fin rocket looks kind of funny. This here was a hole for the launch lugs, which are symmetric on both sides. I thought these integrated launch lugs looked pretty cool, so I didn't want to have an exterior one, and this one is integral to the rocket. And of course I mirrored it across the plane there to make one on both sides for symmetry of drag. That cut revolve here didn't apply, so if we roll this all the way to the end here, you can see kind of what I did. You see now the area for the motor mount is tapered up to the front so that no support is required inside, and I didn't have to worry about the filament bridging. This front also gives me a chance to add balance weight if I need to, and the motor sits right here on this edge where it starts to taper. And so all the force is applied there and everything's just fine. These little holes at the bottom are for paper clips to hold the motor in. And I'll show you here in a second how these are actually going to work. This HeliRocket here, the genius is in this hub, I suppose. Well, and also the tail section. But this hub is just an extrude. Now this is a single piece print though. These red blade roots are printed at the same time as the purple or dark blue hub. you can see here that this side has a slot so that it can tilt 15 degrees, and this has been chamfered such that it doesn't interfere with the side of the hub. So when that thing tilts because of the rubber bands, I get a nice angled blade so that it actually wants to spin on its way down. If you look at it in section view here, you can see how it's stowed here in this position, or it's deployed in the red position. And it's shaped such that the blade kind of just pops into place. The PLA is stretchy enough for it to go around there. And this version 1 had pins that held the rubber bands in place. You can see this gray one here in section view. But pins were an extra part that I didn't need. And so the rocket I ended up flying, these were removed, and those holes at the top for the pins were changed into like hooks, because there was no sense in having a pin. The genius of the tail section here, though, is it's not a single piece print. These two halves up here go up inside the body tube, and if we remove this one, you can see kind of how this works. Let me zoom in here to bring this up so you can see it a little bit better. Maybe I need to... No, this will be okay. So you've got three pieces here in the tail section. Two little clips that stick up inside the body tube, and then this here allows the tail section to slide back that ½ inch that I mentioned when the ejection charge fires. If we go to a full screen here, you can see maybe how this works. So this piece here is all one, and it wraps up around here, and there's this cavity up in the nose. But this section here is the whole tail section with the fins, and there's this gap here that's a ½ inch that allows this to stop, and you don't want the tail shooting out the back of the rocket. And this piece here fit up inside the body tube such that, well, the body tube is right about here. It sits just like so. And so this sits up in the side of the body tube 1 inch, and this allows the tail to shoot back that ½ inch and not fall out. Now, when it came time to balance this comical blue rocket, we had a couple things to worry about. I designed it such that the motor was up inside about 3/4 inch. But then what to do when the ejection charge fires? Do I discard it? Do I keep it in there? What do I do? So you also need to have an empty motor for something like this. This one's already been fired, because balance with an empty motor is most critical, especially for a tumble recovery rocket like this one. So I decided I wanted to retain the motor, but where should I retain it? Does it shoot out like this and just dangle from a string, to a rubber band? Does it somehow deploy a tiny parachute that was stowed in the nose? What I decided to do was stop it 1/8 inch short of the tail. That's what these little holes here for. See those? Those little holes are my retention pins, just paper clips, such that when this thing is back at the rear after the ejection charge fires, it tumbles. It's no longer stable and falls on its side. Of course, we did a twirl test with a loaded motor to make sure that it points forward, and after several different twirl tests at different positions, I found that 1/8 inch from the rear of the rocket was where an empty motor needed to be in order to make this thing unstable and float down on its side. You can see it there. It's retained by those two pins, and that's how I made that work. It was pretty easy, really, but it floats down on its side now just like this. So, and of course that was confirmed by the twirl test. And so for the HeliRocket here, if I pull the tail back, you can see how it works. It stops there at a ½ inch, and those little 1/4 inch clips clear the blades. Now, the fact that this wiggles back and forth really doesn't matter, because when the motor is thrusting against the body tube, everything is perfectly square and the fins are straight. But then you can easily reinsert these blades because they're so thin. I close the tail like this, and then I can just pinch them and then reinsert them, because it's almost impossible to align 4 blades properly with the clips. But I can just do this and see they slide in, because these blades are only 3 layers thick. So step just like that, and boom, they all clip in just like so. And this works out really, really great. And of course I have symmetrical integral launch lugs with the tail fins. I think they look pretty cool. And a snazzy little paint job there in the middle. Here's an integral launch lug. You can see how, and the blades are just retained by that last little 1/4 inch. And these launches were absolutely spectacular. We're going to shoot these again in the next video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mike Thompson, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.